Steven, do you like Rashard Mendenhall's idea for the Pro Bowl?
Are we allowed to talk about it?
Sure, why not?
Because we're average white men. I thought we weren't allowed to talk about it.
Just our white opinion, man.
Just our white opinion, man. Rashard Mendenhall, come on as a guest. We should call it that. We should call it just our white opinion, man.
I think we'll attract a new audience if we do that.
Agreed. Two average white males talking football. Are we allowed?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people's reactions to that, and then I saw Pat Beverly on his podcast. I guess his sidekick was like, "So how'd that work in the NBA?" And he was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" He's like, "Well, you got Luka, you got Jokic." He's like, "Stop, just stop." Yeah,
yeah. That ain't gonna work.
No, not gonna work. Yeah, that'd be an odd Pro Bowl. Because no one watches the Pro Bowl to begin with these days, Steven.
Peyton Hillis.
Oh, we're talking all time?
I think we need all time.
Well, if that's the case, you'd have McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Larry Zonka.
Larry Zonka would be a good one.
Yeah. Best white wide receiver. Steve
Why
Largent.
am I... Chris Collinsworth.
Kids, sure. He was okay.
Just anyone from the Patriots.
Yeah, Wes Welker. Yeah, any of my favorite white slot guys.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, if we'd have all white slot wide receivers. Yeah, in his version of this Pro Bowl. You know what? I'd watch that Pro Bowl over than whatever they got going on right now. Is it flag football?
Yeah, it's not even a Pro Bowl game anymore. It's the flag football competition, like you said. It's also just a bunch of games, like playing Madden and shit. So, kind of out on the Pro Bowl these days. What's going on, everybody? Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. It's been a while since we did the last podcast. We wanted to give everybody time to watch the games on Saturday, and they were fun. And even the Sunday games, even Monday games. But we have yet to react to the Thursday night beatdown the Raiders put on the Chargers. We'll get to that. We'll get to the 49ers beating the Arizona Cardinals and the whole Brock Purdy versus Christian McCaffrey MVP debate. We'll talk about last night's game between the Eagles and Seahawks. And then we got the Warriors going on right now, which is something we don't like to do usually, but I got to go to a dinner tomorrow, so we're going to do this tonight. We'll give you updates as the game progresses. Chris Paul and Andrew Wiggins are playing, though they've been battling an illness that's been going around these days. But Jason Tatum, I didn't see what happened after that, but he did leave the game. So if there's anything new with that, we'll let you know. But it looked like he bumped his knee or something like that. Don't have the official injury ruling, but once we get that, I'll give it to you kindly. Steven, before we get to all the sports stuff, Christmas time is coming up. We won't be, let me just say this will be the only show we're doing this week. Same thing, NFL games on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So we'll be back next week to react to all of it. But Steven, your all-time favorite Christmas movie, what you go to?
All-time favorite Christmas movie. Jeez, you threw me for a loop with that one.
By the way, I had to change myself to the right because everybody's complaining about it in the chat.
Yeah, it felt weird.
I know.
Die Hard. Yeah.
So you are going with Die Hard as officially Christmas.
It is. Yeah, man. It's got a Christmas theme to it. There's music constantly played, like at the very end. It closes out with Christmas music, Christmas in Hollis. Oh yeah. Everything. So I put Die Hard there, though Jesse and I watched It's a Wonderful Life last night, and let me tell you, it is a wonderful life.
Perfect segue. This is always my argument. Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life. Because in Die Hard, all of the movie takes place during Christmas. And it's It's a Wonderful Life, not If It's a Wonderful Life, It Is a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. The movie takes place at Christmas, I want to say 1 hour of a 3-hour movie. Yes. So that's the one they always show on NBC on Christmas Eve. I remember seeing it as a little kid. It's a good movie. I always enjoy the when George Bailey comes home and he's angry about everything in his life. He's like, "Yeah, play that damn piano." "Oh, Daddy, why?" I Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life because he only learned. I mean, it's not even a Christmas movie. It's just he learns to be a better human, but it takes place during Christmas. It's Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life.
He doesn't. I agree, but he doesn't learn to be a better human. He learns that he is a good human being and that he's impacted the lives of others. And that's what Clarence brought up. Clarence, where are you, Clarence? That's what Clarence brings up at the end of the movie.
Okay. No, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it. It's a funny movie because I just love fucking who we talking about? Who's my guy? The actor.
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart. His accent kills me every time. Oh
Yeah, it's the
oh
funniest.
Mary. Oh, I could sell tickets. And she like loses her robe and she's like naked and she's I'm bringing a show here, Mary.
Mary, we're at the high school dance. Say, that's kind of a nice dress you got on there, Mary. Pretty nice.
Nah, it's that. Yeah, Die Hard's a Christmas movie. For anyone that doesn't like, what is the whole bugaboo about it not being it? Can we just have fun with it? Can we just have one action movie that's a Christmas movie with the exception of what's the new one? Violent Night with
Violent Night.
I haven't seen it yet, but that's the movie where Hopper from Stranger Things is Santa Claus and he kicks ass.
Correct. David Harbour, yeah.
David Harbour. Haven't seen it yet. Have you seen it?
I have not.
I want to check it out, actually.
Yeah. What have we watched this year? We've watched, I mean, I say Die Hard, and it is, but, Elf is right up there, too. Like, Elf's a must-watch every single Christmas.
Elf, I didn't see it when it initially came out. I was a little, I was a newbie when it came to Elf, like, years later.
Huh.
So, but it's a solid movie, but it's not one of my it's not one of my go-tos. I usually go to I'm more old school Christmas Vacation. I still love The Grinch. Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Yes.
Still cracks me up. It's just a unbelievable performance where Jim just does whatever the fuck he wants for 2 hours. The outtakes are incredible where he is biting the nose off of the masks of the other Who's, and that causes them to have to do another 4 hours of makeup. The behind the scenes stuff is incredible. Like Jim Carrey had to like learn like torture training. Like he was so angry with how long the process it took to put on the makeup that he would just sit there, and the Universal producers had to bring in like torture experts on how they got through suffering. So, it seems a little much, honestly, but
he's sitting there putting on makeup.
I know, but to him it was enough. So he literally had to like punch himself in the leg or smoke. And the hilarious thing is when he's talking about how he used to have to like chain smoke cigarettes while he was the Grinch, that fucking costume was made of yak hair. So someone had to come like off stage and put a cigarette in his mouth and light it for him, because if he lit that, he would burn himself on fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are new Grinch facts that I didn't know.
Hey, man, I know all the Grinch facts. Speaking of which,
clearly.
Soundtrack. Good song with Busta Rhymes and the Grinch.
That's on the old soundtrack, too?
Oh, yeah, baby.
I haven't listened to the old soundtrack.
Yeah, a lot of people just, know the Cindy Lou song, Where Are You Christmas?
Yeah.
I stay around for the Busta Rhymes song.
Buster, can you? I like how it's 2001 Buster Rhymes too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Fun fact: Busta Rhymes, great song.
Oh, got you all in check.
Fun fact: Busta Rhymes, both on the Grinch soundtrack and the Rugrats movie soundtrack. He was the voice of Reptar.
He was the voice of Reptar?
Yes.
Damn. Busta Rhymes is versatile.
Like the little wagon that the baby was in, he just did the growling, which makes sense for Busta Rhymes.
It's really, yeah. I mean, he pretty much auditioned for that part in Scenario, right? Like a Dungeons and Dragons, change your little trolls because your pants are sagging.
But yeah, that's about it for me. With I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, for all my Jews out there, I love Adam Sandler's 8 Crazy Nights.
Yes.
You put up 55 points up in the JCC Miracle game. It was the best basketball I ever saw. Oh, Whitey, why did they take my wig?
Oh, that's a technical foul.
If you walk in with dirty shoes on your feet, that's a technical foul.
And
Great movie.
possibly a homicide.
Yeah, that's about it for me with Christmas movies. I can't think of anything else that comes to mind.
Yeah, we watched Christmas movie. We watched Christmas Vacation. We watched Elf. We watched
Melakaliki-laka is the thing you say.
what did we watch? I don't know. You know what's funny about The Wonderful Life?
Yep.
Is they managed to somehow like age Jimmy Stewart better than they did in The Irishman with Robert De Niro. Like Jimmy Stewart, you know, you had to be like, I don't know, like 18 or 19 or something, because my brother's going off to college and he's having a party because he's graduating. And
yeah, it's back in the days when they had like 30-year-olds playing teenagers.
Yeah, I had to look it up. He was 38. 38, and they had him playing a teenager. Eventually they got to it because they were, you know, oh, we're going swimming in the gym swimming pool. Oh, the floors are opening up. Oh my God. And then you know, to all the way to what? This isn't Martini's bar. This is Martini's. You're Nick, this is Martini's.
Yeah. The best joke of that ever in a movie is Walk Hard with Dewey Cox. He's like, I think I'm doing pretty good for a 14-year-old kid with a wife and a baby. Christmas Story is good too. Ernie 2, Sick Christmas Story. That's a solid flick. Yeah. Trying to think of anything else that comes to mind.
Christmas Story's all right. I've never really been big on Christmas Story. I watched it a little too late. It didn't really have like the same impact.
Fragile.
Is that from the movie?
Yes.
I've always wanted that lamp though with the leg.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But that's about it. Anything else?
Home Alone. We watched.
Oh yeah, Home Alone. Yeah, I forgot about Home Alone.
Those.
Yeah, shit, I haven't seen Home Alone in a long time. Yeah, Home Alone's good. Home Alone 2.
Oh, what was it like though with Home Alone when it came out, and you're seeing Joe Pesci come off Goodfellas? Like, the hell, man.
Yeah, I mean that was. What's great about the movie is every time he curses, it's just some mumbled gibberish like you would hear in a cartoon, like
yeah.
Jesse brings up Santa Claus. That's only the first one. The other ones are weird, and there's a new TV show that no, thank you.
Santa Claus 2 is good. I can deal with Santa Claus.
Escape Clause?
Is that the Escape Clause?
I don't know. They all had funny, witty names.
I just remember it being called Santa Claus 2.
I forgot about God, what was one I just thought of? I forgot about. It'll come to me again. You ever seen I'll Be Home for Christmas with Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
We watched that one too. Jesse fell right asleep.
Yeah, I watched it a couple years ago with my roommates, my friend Grayson and his girlfriend Kaylee, and his girlfriend could not get past that Jonathan Taylor just came across as a total douchebag in that movie.
He was 100%. I don't know what Jessica Biel saw in him in that movie.
Yeah, she's in that too. I forgot about that.
She should have gone with the Ed Man instead. I'm the Ed Man. Should have gone with him.
God, there's one more I was thinking about that just came to my mind that I forgot about. Home Alone. God, what's another one? I literally just Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to get I'm not the perfect, trying to get Turbo Man.
Put the cookie down.
Yeah, Phil Hartman in that movie is fantastic. I think she's taking a shower. You want me to check?
What AJ randomly brought up, I think it was AJ Cruz. Where we at? Yeah, we just randomly brought up Christmas song. Nat King Cole's Christmas song is the greatest. How badass is that? Just to call your song the Christmas song. It's just, hey,
which one is Nat King Cole's?
You know, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, which is one of my favorites.
The second line doesn't make sense.
What, Jack Frost nipping at your toes?
Nose.
That's right.
Nipping at your toes. Good Lord.
A little creepy doing that.
Well, it doesn't. I don't know what that means. Nipping at your nose.
He takes a little bite of your nose. It's just, takes a little Jack Frost bite. Oh, frostbite.
All right.
Did you watch that movie with Michael Keaton?
I've seen that one, but as a kid, I didn't realize there was also a horror movie called Jack Frost.
There's a horror movie called
Oh
Jack
yeah,
Frost?
there's the same premise, but it's a killer snowman.
Mm. Ooh, Love Actually. Love Actually is a solid flick, man.
Never seen it.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. All right. Yeah. Anyway,
All right. If you guys think of any of the other good Christmas movies, just let us know.
good conversation.
Yeah, I think so. I think we hit all the good ones though. With most importantly, Die Hard #1.
Yeah.
All right, Steven. I was doing well in picks. I was doing well until last night. So I was leading by 1 going into Monday night, and then I hit you with a text saying, "Hey, we both picked the Eagles to win, lay the points, and the over. You have an opportunity to beat me if you want to change your pick with the Seahawks." And you said initially, "Nah, it's all good." And then I said, "Really? You just want to take the loss?" And you were like, "Eh, all right, I'll take the Seahawks." I had to talk you into it.
Yeah, you did.
And I thought I had it done. You know, Jalen Hurts, yeah, he's sick. We got Drew Lock playing. Guy has been relevant since he was singing Young Jeezy on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, had the game of his fucking life. And now I have to eat some hot sauce. So,
I mean, I'll give you a pass on that because you literally just told me, yeah, I'm up by 1, but you could change your pick if you want.
I was being a good friend and a good sportsman.
Yeah, I know, but I'm being a good sportsman and saying you don't have to do the hot sauce.
At all?
Not this week. Merry Christmas.
The hell?
Merry Chrysler.
That's nice of you, but I think I would be doing a disservice to everybody watching on the chat. So I'll be a man of my word. I was nice to you, and now I'm going to suffer because of it. So I will get the hot sauce out, and I will be putting it on a chicken tender that I got from Safeway.
Ooh, good
Those
call.
are good.
They are
All
good.
right, before we get to that, I'll give my let me get that ready and everything.
Mhm.
But it's been far too long. It's been 5 days since this game happened, and we haven't talked about it at all. Steven, your thoughts? The Raiders go from losing 3-0 to beating the Chargers for a franchise record 63 points, 63-21. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are the Chargers suck. That's my number one thought from that game.
Yeah.
Forgetting everything else. Like, they kept on giving the Raiders every chance to get into it. Just kept on turning the ball over. How much popcorn did they eat before that game? It's just like, Jesus Christ, because it kept slipping out of their hands, the ball.
No.
It was just constant. Every single time I look up, I was half paying attention, like, to start the game because I was cooking at the time. So I had the TV turned around to my kitchen. So I 5:30 on a Thursday, I had to cook. And I just look over and I look up and I see it's 7-0. Oh, nice. Already 14-0. Oh, how about that? Fumble 21-0. Oh, wow. This is 28-0. Okay, this is getting sad. like I didn't even want to watch that game in the second half. I almost just felt bad for the Chargers. Like, it didn't even feel, it felt gross watching that.
I never felt bad for the Chargers because fuck them,
Yeah.
but I did feel bad for our buddy Evan Giddings, who you can hear on 95.7 The Game. He was texting us during the game, and he said this was probably the worst Chargers loss of all time. And that's considering a lot of heartbreak in that franchise's history. But honestly, I mean, yeah, that was devastating. If you're a Charger fan, like, Jesus Christ, they didn't even show up. The team quit on their coach, and I'll get to that. But any more thoughts, Steven? Well, I'm going to start digging in because, as you can see here, I put the sauce in the center of the wing. Or not the wing, but the tender. So this may take me a minute to get to it. So go ahead and finish your thought, and I'll get to it.
I think that it kind of I think that it showed that Aiden O'Connell is meant to be a backup, because the way that Aiden O'Connell was treating that game was much like a backup quarterback. Just everything was deep. Everything was going right for him, but I wasn't all that impressed at the same time. I mean, they put up 63 points, but even bigger though, for the defense. I think this defense is, again, a couple of scores for that defense. A couple of pick sixes, one obvious, or not a couple of pick sixes, one obviously the fumble return for the touchdown, then that pick six from Justin Jones at the end of the game, which was sick. I didn't really notice in real time how cool that actually was. But I think that overall, I think it's good for the defense. I think it bodes well for the defense, but this season is almost a wash in a way. It just feels like already they have to search for a new head coach and a new quarterback, and no 63-point win is going to have me change that. So even though I was focused on the game and trying to focus on all the everything that happened around it, can't help but think of the bigger picture and just say, well, this does hurt the Raiders playoff, or not the playoff. This does hurt the Raiders draft chances a little bit. They might be inclined to keep Antonio Pierce as a head coach. I don't know if he could be the guy. And Aiden O'Connell could stick around as a quarterback, and I don't know, might give us something interesting to watch for the rest of the season. But I do think they need to head into a different direction. So not a lot to take away from that game. It's all that positive, even though they set a franchise record for points.
The chicken helps, but it's still pretty hot.
So you have a real reaction to it. You're really hurting over there. Oh, there you go.
It's coming in. To go from losing 3-0 to putting up 63 points is an incredible accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
I got to give kudos to the Raiders because offensively, for most of the season, they've not been great. But to do that, no matter who you're playing, I mean, 63 points, you're a touchdown away from tying what the Miami Dolphins did in week 3, and we still talk about that. So kudos to them for that. I didn't expect that from this team. I didn't think that team was capable of putting up 63 points. And I didn't think we see an offensive explosion like that since it's crazy that this team did that. Like, think of the great Raider teams in history, the 0-2 team, other great offenses that we've seen in our lifetime. But think about it. This team and the 2010 Raiders have the highest scoring games of all time. And you brought it up. You texted to me. You remember that game with Darren McFadden in 2010, 59-14?
Oh, yeah.
That's when I thought Darren McFadden was going to be the next great thing next to Adrian Peterson. And he could have been if he stayed healthy, honestly. Like
turf toe.
Oh, yeah. But actually, people get mad at me about this, and I'm sure people in the chat will come after me with pitchforks. Frank Gore, more accomplished running back in his life, in his career. Great player. But who had more talent? Darren McFadden. No chance.
God, that's a tough discussion to have. They were different types of backs, though.
Of course, but if we're talking about skill set, this is not what the conversation is supposed to be about, but Darren McFadden was incredible if he stayed healthy.
If he stayed healthy, but he didn't. That was the problem.
I know, but he had more skill, I thought, than Frank Gore.
Sure. I mean, you could say, I don't know, a lot of quarterbacks out there have more skill than Brock Purdy, but Brock Purdy's still the MVP.
See, I knew it. Don't be respectful.
Don't be disrespectful.
I know. Okay. My McFadden hot take aside, I didn't expect it from this team. 63 points is pretty incredible. And Aiden O'Connell, yes, he was 20 of 34, so he was, completion percentage not the best, but he threw 4 touchdown passes, 248 yards. This will be the game of his lifetime. But let's be real. Yes, from everything you said, from the Jack Jones pick 6, the one-arm thing that was incredible, to the fumble recovery where no Charger gave a shit to go after, who was it, John Jenkins?
Yes.
So the effort that the Chargers gave was piss poor. They wanted their coach fired, and all of us, we've been waiting for this day for a long time. But finally, Brandon Staley was fired along with Tom Telesco. So to me, it was very impressive by the Raiders, but it also was a bigger indictment on the Chargers of just how little they gave a shit in that game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of waxing poetic all game about baseball bats from back in the day, because Easton Stick's name reminded me of a baseball bat. So I was looking up a bunch of old school Easton baseball bats from Little League. And it turns out that I used a lot of Eastons growing up. Wow. So I kind of started reminiscing on my childhood. So thanks, Chargers.
But I mean, yeah,
Not
we've been
much to
saying.
take away from the game. Like, what is there to really break down?
I
Like the
mean, no,
Chargers,
there isn't, and most of this is
Chargers
about
just
the.
stunk.
I know that's the biggest takeaway is that I was texting with you and Evan and Tom Tolbert and Copes, and I was we were, the debate was: is there any way that Brandon Staley could survive this next day? And I thought there's so many times this season they should have fired him. They should have fired him last year when they were up 27-0 and lost that playoff game.
Yeah.
They had Sean Payton ready to go to be their head coach, and yes, he would have cost them a pretty penny, but it would have been worth it than what situation they're in right now. So I thought that they were going to be cheap and say, no, we'll just have Staley coach the rest of the season. Who cares? 63, whatever. Loss is a loss. It was so embarrassing that Dean Spanos couldn't take it anymore, so he fired him and Tom Telesco, who, Tom Telesco, I don't think you could blame. It's kind of the same thing with Dave Ziegler. He made all the right moves, with the exception of maybe Quentin Johnston. He got Justin Herbert. He got Khalil Mack. The J.C. Jackson one was bad.
Made a lot of great moves, but go back and look at the free agent signings that he's had over the decade plus, like the big ones, and they were a waste of money. So,
yeah, I mean,
there's been a lot of hits, but there was a lot of misses too, and too many to overcome.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, you just said it. He's been there for a decade plus. I think they just wanted to clean house and start anew, and they probably have the most attractive job opening with that quarterback, I'd say. We'll see what else lines up. I mean, Commanders probably opens up. Patriots, but they probably have already a guy waiting with Gerard Mayo. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Chargers. There's an appeal there, and it's just a matter of if Dean Spanos is going to be willing to spend the money on a good head coach. There's rumors already that Jim Harbaugh would be a guy interested in that job. I wouldn't do that if I was the Chargers. I would go after either an offensive play caller or someone like Dan Quinn that's been a head coach in the league.
You need the offensive play caller for that team. You need your quarterback to shine. You need Herbert to play at an MVP level if you want them to get anywhere close to where they were last year. Like, it starts with Herbert. Do everything you can to build around Herbert, whether that's through the coaching staff, whether that's through the players, because Keenan Allen ain't getting any younger. Mike Williams coming off another season-ending injury. Like, there's too many variables at play. Like, you got to start with an offensive head coach. That's where it starts. If they don't, that's a mistake.
I'm with you on that one. I think that they could go, if they're going to keep Kellen Moore, then maybe Dan Quinn makes sense because of their relationship at Dallas. But I didn't get a lot of confidence from Kellen Moore this season when he was, coordinating with Kellen Moore or with Justin Herbert. So maybe Ben Johnson is the guy there. He's the hot guy. He's the hot name from the Lions, but we'll see about that. As far as the Raiders, look, yes, anytime you score 63 points, it's impressive, and Antonio Pierce has had an impact on this team. But I still believe they need to upgrade a quarterback and they need to upgrade a head coach. I think this was more of an indictment on the Chargers. I really do. I would say that I would keep Antonio Pierce on the staff. And also, you know what? I'll be fair. He's got 3 more games to prove something. If they go into Arrowhead on Christmas Day and win, then we got something here. Maybe it's, we're looking forward to something. But also, to compete with the Andy Reids of the league and the other guys, the other big name head coaches, I do think they need to upgrade a head coach. And I would still want to keep Antonio Pierce on with the staff if he's willing to do that. He may get opportunities with what he's done with the Raiders, but I would definitely keep Patrick Graham as defensive coordinator. I think that's been a total flip of what we saw a season ago. He's got this defense playing. I think they're averaging 15.5 points allowed in a game since Antonio Pierce has been named head coach. That's pretty impressive. I would keep him around. They just need to upgrade the offense. Even though they scored 63 points, you can keep Ben Hardigree?
Bo
Hardigree, the quarterback coach / offensive coordinator. You keep him around. But I do think they need an offensive play caller the same way with the Chargers that they need one with the Raiders as head coach.
I think nowadays an offensive coordinator is about as vital to a team as ever, because it
Hmm.
seems like any team that's thriving at least has an offensive-minded head coach or some genius offensive coordinator who's in line for a head coaching gig coming up. I mean, just look at what's happening with, I know we're going to get to it, but like look at what's happening with the Eagles right now. Look what happened
Yeah.
with the Steelers for the past couple of years. Um, I don't know. Look what happened with the Patriots. Although I guess like Bill O'Brien might have been a good OC, but
No, but perfect example, your guy, Bobby Slowick with the Texans.
yeah,
He's gonna get job offers this offseason, and they're gonna lose him already, possibly. CJ
one
Stroud
season
needs
too.
him.
Yeah, yeah. So it's as crucial as ever to get one. Like if Antonio Pierce sticks around as head coach, they better have some young hotshot offensive coordinator in mind, because I think at this stage in the season, I've seen a little bit from Antonio Pierce. He knows how to reach his players, but he's also had a couple of questionable clock management decisions. And Bo Hardegree just is not that aggressive of a play caller. He keeps it pretty basic, and you need to take it to the next level in the league. So, um, yeah, I think they need to make a change at head coach and quarterback as of right now. I think they need an overhaul there on offense. I think they need something fresh, something new. Um, Ernie Two's asking, draft a quarterback or sign one. Personally, I'd draft one, because you
Draft
gotta
one.
you got a starter in Aiden O'Connell who can show him the ropes. And I don't know, maybe it's going to be a thing next year. Plus, you got Jimmy Garoppolo still on the roster. He's
You
still
probably
going to be
cut
there.
him. You probably cut Jimmy.
Do they really cut bait with him, even though it's going to cost them a little bit of money?
Well, if you're gonna draft a quarterback, and you're gonna have three quarterbacks on the roster between Jimmy, Aiden, and the new guy,
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to
and,
work.
and there are options in this draft. I still, I'm not ruling this out on the table, or I'm putting this on the table, and I'm not ruling it out. Is that you could trade Devontae Adams and get 2 first-round picks, and maybe potentially move up to try to get Caleb Williams if you want to go down that road. A lot of question marks with Caleb Williams as far as maturity, but as far as the skill set, he's very impressive. And you may need him to compete with the Mahomes of the world now in the NFL.
Yeah, that scares me about the whole personality thing, because that's why people were off CJ Stroud, and looking at him, he was having the best rookie season of all time leading up to his concussion. So I don't want to miss that on Caleb Williams. If they have a chance to get Caleb Williams, take him. He does kind of fall into the Kyler Murray category for me. But if
Yeah.
you can get a guy that talented, you don't pass on that.
Yep. Now we'll see what happens. We'll see. I mean, it's looking like, and even though the Carolina Panthers won this past week, which I got that right, but still lost in picks. It's looking like, because of the trade last year, that the Carolina Panthers are so bad that they'll give the Chicago Bears the first overall pick once again, and they'll have to figure out what they want to do. Do they want to stay with Justin Fields again and pass up on the opportunity of drafting the top quarterback, or make another trade? We shall see. By the way, in the Warriors and Celtics game, the Warriors are down by 3 right now. Ooh, surging back here.
How about that?
Jason Tatum actually came back in the game, so he's doing all right. By the way, earlier, John Morant in his debut, game-winning bucket.
Yeah,
Good for him. Coming back, guns blazing.
he took a shot.
Too soon?
25 games. It's been a while.
So.
It's been a whole summer.
True.
Yeah.
But honestly, good for him in his first game back. That's actually pretty wild.
It was pretty sick just to drive by Herb Jones like that. Was just, yeah, it was really impressive.
Let's talk about the other team that we follow on this podcast. The 49ers, they just keep rolling. 45-29 over the Arizona Cardinals. Their highest offensive output on the season. People could say the defense was lagging, but when you score 45 points, that's going to happen sometimes, where you kind of just give up garbage time touchdowns. I wasn't that too concerned with the defense. I was more impressed with the offense. They didn't have Siobhan Hargrave out there or Eric Armstead, so they were kind of gashed in the run game. But overall, Brock Purdy's playing out of his mind. Christian McCaffrey's playing out of his mind. More people are considering McCaffrey for MVP. There's the whole MVP debate between Purdy and McCaffrey now. The reality is they're just the best team in football. They're rolling. They benefited big time from the Eagles losing last night. And I don't see how this team doesn't get the number 1 seed. I don't think they even need it, and I don't think anything's stopping them right now.
Nope. The only thing that would stop them is health, because the reason they did give up so many rushing yards on Sunday was because of the lack of an interior pass rush, or the lack of interior defenders, rather. And Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead were both missing. So that was a key there. And we've seen what happens. I really do think that the one thing hurting Purdy's MVP case, if anything, is we've seen what he looks like without Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel on the field, and he kind of looked like that quarterback in those 3 losses. I don't know if that's a total indictment on him, because it wasn't entirely his fault, but I do think that the most valuable player conversation is an interesting one. I don't. But the defense, though, like, it really is health is the only thing that's stopping them, because I don't know, just trying to nitpick what this team does on a game by game basis, it almost seems tiring at this point. Like, it's week 15. This is the best team in football. They're the most talented. They just got to go into the playoffs healthy. It's a battle of attrition. Shanahan talks about that all the time. He doesn't want to get too high on this season, because he knows that health is a huge factor going into the playoffs. I don't know what's going to happen these next 3 games. Actually, I think this one against the Ravens, that's going to be a very, very interesting game. I mean, this might be the best defense the Niners have faced all season.
Hands down, I think it is.
Yeah. So are they going to be able to get the run game going there? I think that's truly kind of the preview. But even so, like, I'm just done nitpicking this team, because we know that they're going to get into the playoffs, and we know that based on what we've seen, they are the best. They are just rolling, dude. It's insane. Like, the thing with, like, Brock Purdy, even with a lot of these games this year, there's been, I don't know, I'd say about half of them where there's a lot of guys who are wide open. Like, half of his completions were just to wide open guys. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's touchdown, the dude was able to go over his shoulder, get off balance, catch the ball, fall down, get back up, and still run for a touchdown for whatever it was, 20 yards. Like, he had all the space in the world. Deebo Samuel being wide open for the touchdown as well. He had a lot of them, but there are also a lot of throws that he makes where it's just like, Jesus Christ, that was a dime.
Yeah.
Right. So there's been a mix of that through half their games this season. It's just, we saw it again, dude. It's nonstop. And that Cardinals team just had no chance. Like, it's crazy.
No, they are extremely impressive. I think we talked about this last week, but I think that they currently, right now, have the best offense and arguably the best defense. We'll see with the Ravens, but they have the 2 best units of football, like offensively and defensively, and collectively they're the best team. And also want to give a shout out to Trevarius Ward for his pick 6, 2 picks in the game. He's having a great season. I think that his play has elevated the defense as well. I thought that may be the only weakness in the defense, but he's playing out of his mind. So, like you said, man, I don't think anything's stopping this team except for injury. So basically, everyone's talking about the MVP debate as opposed to this game, because it was just a thorough ass kicking. So right now, Brock Purdy's playing out of his mind. In the last 3 games, he's thrown 10 touchdowns and 1 interception for 924 yards. And McCaffrey is what he's got. He's got 20 touchdowns on the season, and no one's even close to him in rushing yards. Like, this is where the argument for him for MVP is even, I think, more appropriate, because he is dominating in a position that is slowly dying. He's the one that's standing out. But he does it in a different way, where he is a running back, but he's not your traditional running back. He's not Derrick Henry. He is equal parts Wes Welker, and then he turns into LaDainian Tomlinson. He is an incredible player, one of the best in football. I mean, look at the second leading rusher in the NFL right now. If you had to guess who it is, Steve, without looking it up, who would you say is the second leading rusher in football?
I kind of already know it.
Okay. It's James Cook.
Yeah.
And think about that for a second. James Cook just had a 179-yard day against the Cowboys. And I think that's the first time we think, wow, James Cook has broken out this season. If you look at his game log this season, it's not that impressive. Like, this is an all-time low rushing year collectively. Christian McCaffrey is blowing guys out of the water, but For a while there, Josh Jacobs was number 2, and he hasn't had a great season. Raheem Mostert's having a great season touchdown-wise. Yardage-wise, not so much. For, like I said, a position that is slowly being devalued more and more, Christian McCaffrey stands out to me. So I think there's a lot of arguments right now for, is it McCaffrey more valuable for the 49ers, or is it Brock Purdy? And I was listening to the Sunday night broadcast with Collinsworth and Tirico, and Collinsworth pretty clear thinks that Lamar Jackson's the MVP just because of what he does as far as running around and everything. He was thoroughly impressed with him. He was like, you can't quantify what Lamar Jackson does for his team. If you take him off this team, they don't succeed. My counteract to that is, well, last year they did make the playoffs with Tyler Huntley instead of Lamar Jackson, but Lamar did enough to get them to that point, and Tyler couldn't get them past the Bengals in the first round. And then Mike Tirico came in and made the point, yeah, the Niners are the best team of football, hands down. But when you look at that team, is it really Brock Purdy, or is it more Deebo Samuel? Is it Christian McCaffrey? Is it Brandon Ayuk? And that, I think, is going to ultimately get in the way of maybe Brock Purdy winning this MVP. I think it's extremely unfair and stupid because we put so much emphasis on, are you doing it by yourself, or do you need players? And every year it's, well, Josh Allen needs more help. Or look at Patrick Mahomes right now. He doesn't have great players around him, so he's slowly declining. We never talked about this shit with Peyton Manning. Tom Brady, there were seasons where he didn't have the best receivers. Then he became into MVP status when he got Randy Moss and Wes Welker and great players around him. Now, is there a little truth to all this? Like, if Brock Purdy was put on the Carolina Panthers, would he be doing this? No. But then again, like, you said that for a lot of players. And honestly, I'll go to something that you brought up last time we did a podcast, but Cam Newton's thing on his podcast talking about game managers and game changers.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of understand what he's talking about, even though he's kind of being ignorant in the sense that he's just shitting on guys because he doesn't have a job.
I don't know about that. Do you see his 12-minute response to all that?
I listened to it, and while he did sound initially bitter, I do understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he even puts Peyton Manning in that category of a game manager. Yes, there are guys that fit a offense, a scheme, that do the right things, to throw the touchdown passes, are efficient, to get first downs, don't make the dumb play. And then there are game changers, Josh Allen's, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows, Aaron Rodgers, Cam Newton to a degree, Lamar Jackson, guys that don't fit a scheme, they are the scheme. And if they make, they make wild plays. So when they do have turnovers, it just comes with the territory. So I do understand what he was saying. He didn't put it as delicately as he could have. And I think a lot of people are going to point the finger at him because he's just a guy that doesn't have a job now. So I thought it was kind of unfair. But I do know what he's saying. But I don't think that's an indictment on Brock Purdy winning MVP. I think ultimately he will win it because he's going to have the most, the best looking quarterback stats from this season. And he's on the best team in football. So I think he does deserve it. But I'm not naive. Yeah. If Brock Purdy wasn't on the Niners, he probably wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, I think I just think Christian McCaffrey's really making himself a compelling case. I think that without him, like if we're just talking valuable, like Purdy's playing at an all-pro level. I'm not see, this is the problem with this MVP conversation. It's like when we talk about this and we choose one over the other, that means we're trying to diminish what the other person's accomplishing, which is not what I'm trying to do. But at this current time, Purdy's putting up MVP-like numbers in terms of passer rating, multiple touchdowns per game, all these different things. But Christian McCaffrey's putting up the former numbers of MVPs that were running backs. Like Ernie brings up, Kurt Warner had Bruce, Falk, and Holt. Yeah, but Marshall Falk won the MVP the year after that in 2000. So you can go either or. I just think, God, with what Christian McCaffrey's doing and everything, the threat, the fact that he opens up the system, just being a safety net for the team. Like if they didn't have him, and we also act like everyone just has one definition of what a most valuable player is. Everybody has a different definition. And to me, when I think most valuable player, I think if this guy were off the team, what would it look like? And to me, if Christian McCaffrey were just completely off the team, then I think they'd be decent, but I don't think that they'd be blowing out teams like they are currently. And right now, 20 total touchdowns is just 3 away from tying Jerry Rice's franchise record for the Niners. And he could easily break that next game. I mean, he might not because it's the Ravens defense and they rarely give up touchdowns to running backs, but he could easily break that by the end of the season. Like he could have another 2,000-yard season potentially. Like there's
You mean
a
from
lot
scrimmage?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going for him right now. But it's probably going to go to Purdy because it always goes to a quarterback, and the NFL does not want whatever leverage they feel running backs are having. The NFL doesn't want that. They want their quarterbacks to keep rolling in. Because right now, when I'm thinking about the NBA, where they're at, say with Ja Morant just then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him hitting the game winner. Zion Williamson, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, who we're seeing right now, they're just fine in terms of their future. But football, it's kind of a quarterback-driven sport in terms of popularity. I mean, football people know Christian McCaffrey, but is everyone really tuning in to watch Christian McCaffrey? Like, no, it's about the quarterbacks. That's who they want as the stars. They don't want the running back anymore. And that's just kind of how it is. And I think the NFL, I think they're still trying to find that new generation of quarterbacks right now to take over from those ones in the 2000s. Because right now it's not looking that great as far as the future at quarterback. So if they give them the MVP, they'll be more inclined to bring in quarterbacks and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's going to go to Purdy, but I think McCaffrey makes a damn good case, and it's hard to imagine the 49ers being as good as they are without him on that roster.
No, definitely. I mean, he's had one of the most effective and productive running back seasons we've seen in quite some time in a position that's being slowly devalued. I will say also that, to your point that you were making, Stephen, that we don't have, I guess, a bright future for quarterbacks in the league. I think we have more potential than we do, like, confirmed success. Like, there's Mahomes, but we're still waiting for Josh Allen to have his MVP season. Joe Burrow took his team to the Super Bowl, but we're still waiting for his. Justin Herbert, we're still, pulling our hair out because we're so frustrated that his team doesn't even make the playoffs. So I think we're thinking about this team, this league is going in the right direction quarterback wise, just based on potential than what we've actually seen. Because right now Mahomes is dominated as far as the awards, Super Bowls and MVPs. No one has really challenged him yet. And I think that's also kind of a sticking point to a lot of writers. We're like, damn, Brock Purdy's going to win an MVP before Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, all these guys that we anoint as the next best and upcoming quarterback. Yeah, because he's having the best season. And the season that Marshall Faulk did win MVP, he scored 26 touchdowns, which was a record at the time. But he only won that award because his own quarterbacks were hurt. Kurt Warner got hurt that season, and Trent Green got hurt that season. I think it's at certain points, like one had to fill in for the other or whatever it was. Even in 2006, LaDainian Tomlinson, there were still great quarterbacks that season, but he stood out because he rushed for a league record 31 touchdowns. Same thing with Adrian Peterson. He rushed for 2,000 yards. Christian McCaffrey has to do something that we've never seen before in order for him to win MVP. Like even the year that Marshall Faulk and Kurt Warner were 1-2, it always went to Kurt Warner because he was the quarterback and he had the gaudy numbers, and Marshall Faulk always got an offensive player of the year. So I think that has always been a thing. So I think ultimately that's what's going to lead to Purdy getting the award over McCaffrey, because McCaffrey is having a spectacular season, the likes of which we haven't seen since the early 2000s as far as a running back. But in the end, it usually goes to a quarterback. And I think that Purdy's having the best quarterback season.
He is. And he's also thriving, though, when it's been a down season for quarterbacks.
Like, no doubt.
That's also worth a mention, too. Like the fact that we're talking about Dak and Purdy, than everyone else, like that's a problem.
No question. No question.
Like, I'm sorry. Like I mean, it's kind of disrespectful to both of them, but it's like if those are the two in the running for MVP, then yeah, quarterback play has been down across the league. God, it's been there's been so much backup this year. It feels like it's been more than every other year. I was actually going to do this. I should have done this before the podcast, but there was, a little bit going on. I was eating dinner and, playing with the cat. But I was going to look this up, but didn't. How many backup quarterbacks were actually starting by week 15 last year? Because it feels like every game we've had a backup quarterback, like in half of them.
Well, last year in the playoffs, I brought up Tyler Huntley. There was even
Tyler Huntley, the Tyler Huntley experience. What a time!
Well, remember who was the quarterback for the Dolphins in the playoffs last year?
Was it Skyler or whatever his name is?
Skyler Thompson.
I just know Skyler.
Yeah,
Skyler.
So there were backup quarterbacks, but not to this degree. We're gonna have, the Joe Flacco-led Browns, the Gardner Minshew Colts, what else going on?
Joe Flacco-led Browns.
He's elite, man. He's elite. Who else? Trying to think of other backups right now.
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito. But guys that are actually,
him.
Yeah, we'll get to him a little later. Just a lot of backups right now. A lot of backups. I mean, Jake Browning could take the Bengals to the playoffs.
Jake Browning actually looks really good. No, he looks like he could deserve a starting spot.
System quarterback. See, Zach Taylor's got the system. Which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be a system quarterback. I know it sounds like a negative, but it's not. I sound like Cam Newton now. But do you think that McCaffrey should get the MVP over Purdy because he has more personality, Steven?
No, he's a robot.
You were just texting me that you were like, God damn, Purdy's so good, but also he's so boring.
I just think, give me a little something. Yeah, like talk your shit a little bit, Purdy. Come on.
He's not that guy.
I know he's not. Come on. And you know what? When I sent you that text, it was reactionary because I was watching his post-game presser and like he didn't have any just taking it one game at a time, one play at a time. I don't focus on all that stuff. And all he just, I don't know. That also goes to me and just my issue with quarterback speak in general. I go back to the Tom Brady, like Jimmy Garoppolo's pressers would bother me every single time. Like I remember when they went to Ohio to go practice one time in Youngstown. It was during the 2020 season. And, he's all, yep. We got to the East Coast, got some ice cream. Been a good trip. Like you didn't just get ice cream, Jimmy, shut up. But, you know what I mean? But it's like, just give me something like even Mahomes makes me angry. Like with the Marquez Valdez-Scantling thing, I got to put a better ball in there. Like, no, you don't, dude. I don't know. It speaks to a larger issue. And when I texted you, yes, I was watching the Purdy press conference and I'm like, come on, Purdy, I need something, man. Then he said, dude. So there you go.
Yeah, man. He's one of the people saying, dude. You were just mad because McCaffrey and Trent Williams were referencing Robin Big and Purdy's, farming.
Robin, that's a great nickname for them. It worked perfectly.
So I never watched that show. What was it? Just skinny white guy and a big black guy, and that's what Trent Williams and McCaffrey are?
Just a very entertaining. Well, yes. Theoretically, yes. But what the show was two best friends, very entertaining. One of them, a very rich entrepreneur who made DC stuff, which was sick at the time. And then you had Big Black, who was just an awesome security guard. Yes,
that was his name?
What? Big Black, yeah. Yes, girl, it's Big Black. Let me put the belly on your back.
Yeah, I didn't. The last MTV show I watched was basically Wild Boys and Viva La Bam. I missed out on Robin Big.
You ever watch old clips of that?
Robin Big?
No, Viva La Bam.
God, yeah.
Or Wild Boys.
Oh, God, yeah. I love that show.
I watched one time. I watched. They have this old thing on.
Don Vito, baby.
Don Vito. Don Vito.
Close enough to Tommy DeVito.
They had that episode where they dug a tunnel in his room.
Yeah.
In his bedroom. And they dug a tunnel to the backyard for no reason. What was the video I watched? It was old school MTV Cribs, and they went to all of the
love Cribs.
Jackass. They went to all the Jackass crew, and
Oh, they did an episode with that?
yeah, and they started. I think they start with Steve-O. I think they started with Steve-O, and
Oh, he was living in a no. It was yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, he started with Steve-O. I think.
Well,
think
I
it was-
remember Party Boy. They did his
Yeah.
whole crib from his car.
Yeah, he was at his truck. It's like, this is my gym. This is where I like to work out. And he's just got like this crappy set of weights.
I fucking love Chris Spornius.
These are all my thongs from the
He was
from
he was the
movie.
most confident out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be himself.
Although it was kind of sad watching Steve-O because like he just has this gross apartment. It's all messy. And yeah,
Didn't he like jump into the fan and break it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he's done that. Ryan Dunn showed his
Rest in
place.
peace.
Then Bam Margera showed his place, and he just starts
It's
punching
his parents'
Phil.
house.
Yeah, he started punching Phil as his dad was like doing his taxes.
God,
And Phil was just taking it.
He was so spoiled. Those Pam, I want to say was his mom's name.
April.
Okay, way off. They were fucking saints. They let that kid do anything. Good lord.
Yeah, especially Phil. I love Phil.
Oh, he put up with a lot.
Yeah, he did.
The episode where he puts him on a hunger strike, like he goes around town and tells people don't serve this guy.
Don't feed Phil.
Yeah, don't feed Phil.
Put it on billboards.
I will say, nothing comes close though to Redman's Cribs. That's still the best of all time.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, the Cribs was known for having the rappers and the big houses and the big cars. Redman was just still living in the projects in Jersey. He comes up that he tells the cameraman like, "Hey, you got to, in order to ring this doorbell, you got to put these two wires together." And it's just it's clear he has money, but also he's like, "I don't need a big house. I'm just gonna live the way that I want to live." Love that. Love Redman. Reggie Noble. See, I still know rappers, legal names.
You knew that one.
I did know that one. All right. So the 49ers beat down the Cardinals, and then the other two teams that they're having a race with for the number one seed in the NFC, they dropped the ball, shit the bed, if you will. Cowboys got bullied by the Bills. Like we said, James Cook rushed for 179 yards, and that was the game plan. And the biggest thing that we've talked about, Steven, with the Buffalo Bills is that they have no running game. They just always play the same style. They want to throw the ball with Josh Allen, and when they get in the playoffs, that style does not work. And now they're incorporating a running game that they can run with in the snow if it comes to that point. So I was thoroughly impressed with their performance. Josh Allen didn't have to do much. He threw for 94 yards. He threw to Stephon Diggs when he needed to. The defense has been, finding their groove a little bit more with Sean McDermott trying to plug the holes that were left by Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano. But I thought the way that Dan Orlovsky broke it down, I saw his X's and O's of the running system. They basically just ran away from Micah Parsons and ran right at their linebackers, and their offensive line just dominated their weak linebackers that are not weak, I should say, but kind of a little undersized, 208 size linebackers that got dominated. And I think they found a weakness in the Cowboys' run defense. And the Cowboys' offense can do anything. I don't know what the hell they were doing with that garbage time touchdown at the very end. I thought they just wanted to prove a point that they could score, but they didn't need to put Dak in there or CeeDee Lamb or all that shit. I was thoroughly impressed with the Bills. Still think the Cowboys are going to be a good team, but just as far as the playoffs and everything, they clinched a playoff berth despite the loss. But I came away more impressed with the Bills, Steven. I'm starting to think that what I said a couple weeks ago, they might go on a roll here and actually win this AFC East.
No, I think you're right. I don't know if they'll win the AFC East, but I think you're right that the Bills are rolling, and I don't think that's a team anyone wants to face in the playoffs. Like right now, that run game is specifically it. Like I was wondering when you were gonna mention James Cook. I don't think I was more wrong, I think, on a player than I was on James Cook this season. I've been wrong.
Well, that was your biggest indictment on the Bills.
Yeah. I've been wrong a lot lately this year.
Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, you said that the Niners would be fine without McCaffrey.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just kind of out. I was talking out my ass, really, that one. I can admit it.
That's fair.
Yeah, the one with the one about James Cook. He's a solid back, dude.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's very shifty. I didn't watch a ton of that game, to be totally honest with you, the Bills and Cowboys.
Okay.
But like seeing the highlights though, if you can get Josh Allen to throw 94 yards and just 7 completions, and he managed to put up that many on the cow, I don't know. Do you think they provided a blueprint? Because it seems like the Niners really did for the Eagles, and maybe there's been somebody out there who's been trying to find one on the Cowboys, and maybe the Bills figured it out.
I thought that the Niners had a really good game plan against them earlier in the season, but I thought as far as their run defense and how to counteract Micah Parsons, they definitely had a good blueprint for that. But
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys also just didn't like playing in the cold in Buffalo, and they just got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The Cowboys have been dominant at home and have not been great on the road. And right now, well, not right now, but, if they went out and the Eagles went out, the Eagles, I think, would get the 2 seed, or just win the NFC East. And the Cowboys would have to be a road team again in the playoffs. So that's going to be interesting.
It's why I don't think the Cowboys are that much of a threat, man. It seems like they're aiming for just another divisional round loss.
That's what it feels like. I mean, either they get the 2 seed and they have the home playoff game, or they go to San Francisco, or they go to Philly. And on the road, I don't know about their chances against both those teams. As far as Philly, we talked about at the beginning of the show, and that's why I lost the picks. Jalen Hurts, good for him to play, but he did not have a Michael Jordan flu game. He looked sick, sounded sick after the game, and he was fine running the football, but I didn't understand the 2 interceptions he threw. The one in the end zone that they could have established more of a lead in the fourth quarter, and then when they were down by 3 with like 12 seconds left, and I know there's a little bit amount of time left, but just to force that pass and not play for the field goal when you had 2 timeouts, I don't know what the hell they were doing there. I thought they rushed that. It's Nick Sirianni just thinking that they can do what they always do, but they're not really game planning very well. I will say that I thought the Eagles had a very, much improved defensive game plan. Sean Desai, no more defensive play calling duties. Matt Patricia, pencil and all, is now the de facto defensive coordinator. Deshaun Desai still has that title, Steven, but he's not calling the plays. There is a difference. You and I were talking about this before the game.
Correct.
So I thought that they improved the defense, but ultimately, James Bradbury, he gave up a pass every play of that drive, if you go back and look. And teams are picking on him. And they went right at him with the Jackson Smith and Jigba touchdown. Darius Slay getting his knee scoped during the season. If it was that much of a problem, then by all means get it done. But to have that done in the middle of the season like this, that's oof. So I think they're going to make changes defensively next year. I think they got to make some changes offensively too. But I don't think the Eagles are totally just going to shit the bed here. And, they've already clinched a playoff berth, so they'll be in the playoffs. They just had a bad 3 stretch of games, kind of like the Niners. Seahawks were impressive. I think they're going to sneak in too as a playoff team. I think Geno Smith will come back and be the starter. But they did enough to stay in that game, and Pete Carroll has a great defensive game plan. I thought he almost screwed the game up by calling a timeout after the Jalen Carter sack. But they played a great game. They were on a 4-game losing streak, so they need to get shit right. But I'm not worried about the Eagles too much. I think they'll be there in the mix, but they're definitely – the bottom line is the Cowboys and Eagles, we saw it earlier this season when they played the Niners, but it's just clear that they're not as good.
I don't know about the Eagles, man. Like, it kind of reminded me of the Vikings a little bit from last
year.
Yeah, just won a lot of one-score games, and then eventually I don't know, I don't want to say chickens came home to roost. The Eagles came home to nest. I guess I'll say that.
That's not bad.
Thank you.
It's
like
better than the chairlift one.
God, man, the Eagles, they're just stuck on they were trending upwards on that chairlift to the top of the mountain, to the top of the NFL mountain. Now they're just kind of stuck. Like they're not halfway there, but they're like 75% of the way up to the top.
They're also like a bad soup that you leave out for too long.
Agreed. Yeah.
You love your analogies when it comes to soup and chairlifts.
The soup that I had the other day, the chicken and dumpling soup, it reminds me of the Eagles because I had that frozen for 3 months, and then when I actually came out and reheated it, it's not the same.
Why the hell did you have that frozen for 3 months?
Yeah, it was a little less than that.
I would hope so. It would be gone by then.
No, you could freeze soup for a long time.
Yeah, but it'd be like a solid block for 3 months.
Yeah, but then you can melt it. Then you just add water. Water's underrated.
Soup.
Water's underrated. Genius. What?
But then you melt it. It turns back into soup. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing what science can do. Yeah. They're just not that creative on offense, man.
Eagles? Dude, I said that.
You did.
And them losing Shane Steichen really fucked with them.
Yes, it did. And I think you're really seeing that right now because, God, if Christian McCaffrey being able to call out a play, and I don't know if that was just Christian McCaffrey being Christian McCaffrey, but the fact
I'm glad you brought that up because that was telling.
He's just whatever he said. He's using
on the Manningcast. They ask him what play you think is going to happen here with the Eagles, and he calls it immediately.
Yeah. Yep. And he's just like quarterback draw to the left, the tight end. He's a little bit behind the line of scrimmage, so he's going to cut back this way and all that sort of stuff. Although he ran to the right, but yeah, I'm actually not even half. I'm 99% sure that Peyton got a semi from that prediction. Did you see his reaction to that? Did you watch it?
Yeah, no, I did. Because
just watch Peyton that whole time. I swear to God.
He loves football talk.
He really does, dude. It felt like as soon as he saw it, he's like, oh, you know.
This guy's speaking my language.
Yeah. Omaha. But no, it was telling.
You see, Eli. All right, Eli. All right, Peyton. Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, Eli's just. What was the other thing? Oh, really cool story for Drew Lock. Really cool.
Good, yeah.
Because when you think about it, second start, hasn't really had one since 2021. Geno Smith probably going to come back, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's not like the Seahawks season was on the line because literally everyone is 7-7 in that league at the bottom of the playoff picture. So it's not like their season was on the line, but God damn it, it would have been a lot harder to get through if you had to go through the next 3 weeks of the season 6-8. But 7-7 is a huge difference. Now you're tied with 4 other teams, and Drew Lock probably playing for his career. Like if he didn't do anything, then that's just another, forgotten quarterback. And even though he probably is just going to be a career backup, like he'll have a place somewhere after that performance. Like that's what you need. Backup quarterbacks, like God, I don't say you have to pay a pure premium for them, but good God, if anything showed you this season is backups are damn important. And
you
Drew
best
Lock
believe
in that game was huge.
You best believe the Jets are going to improve their quarterback situation, and most teams in the NFL will, because, like you said, Steven, a plethora were out this season. No, good story for Drew Lock. The Seahawks are definitely in the mix. I think they're going to end up being a wild card team. I think the Rams will end up being a wild card team, and we'll see about the Eagles if they stay a wild card team or they get the NFC East title. Right now, according to Ed Werder, I should look this up more thoroughly, but I think he's right. If the Eagles and Cowboys both went out, right now the Eagles would win the East. But that could change depending on how many wins their opponents have. It's all every tiebreaker from division to conference is all tied up with the Eagles. They would have the same amount of wins and everything else. It all depends on strength of schedule, which could change week to week. It's the amount of wins that they're playing against with their opponents. So it could be either the Cowboys or Eagles. We won't know until the last week of the season if they both went out.
I took a look at the NFL operations list on how tiebreakers are working this year.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it. I flipped through it, tried to retain some of it. Then I just said, nah.
How long did you last?
About 30 seconds.
That's as quick as it took Peyton to get all excited from Christian McCaffrey.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Omaha!
Although it's a complete opposite of that. If you want to go flaccid, go look at the NFL tiebreaker list.
Speak for yourself, sir. All right. Should we do some quick hits?
Do it.
All right. Let's see here. I need to pull up the actual scores because I didn't write enough down. Just to review what happened in the week. Oh, what did you think of the Saturday game, Steven? You like football on Saturdays like this? The little triple header we got now going every year?
No.
You don't like it?
Not really.
Why not?
Because I like having my weekends, I do.
What are you talking about?
Football's great, but I just got too much to do on Saturday. I gotta at least too much that I want to do on Saturday. And didn't do anything on Saturday, and I had all the chance to watch it, all the chances in the world. But what's the problem with these quarterbacks though? I had no interest in watching it with the Vikings and the Bengals.
You didn't want to see Nick Mullins throwing interceptions to defensive linemen?
I did not. I did not fancy that.
It was a good game.
Turned out to be a good game. So yeah. I missed out, I guess. But what was the other one? Colts Steelers. I had no interest in watching that.
Yeah.
None at all. And then the Lions and the Broncos. There's a little bit in the Lions and the Broncos, but I didn't watch that because I was busy watching UFC. So what the hell happened between Russell Wilson and Sean Payton?
Let me get to that because I feel you on devoting your time thing to football. So my family is going to go to Napa for Christmas.
Hell yeah.
And they're asking me, so you coming, right? I'm like, well, yeah, but what's the TV situation? And I'm like, Derek, are you seriously just going to spend your whole time watching football? And I was like, listen, I'm not the one that came up with the schedule, okay? It's these 6 sons of bitches in the NFL office that decide to put games on the Saturday before Christmas, the Christmas Eve, and Christmas itself. So don't blame me. Could have easily had a good time with my family. It's their fault. But yeah, so the Bengal game and Viking game was fun. Great touchdown by T. Higgins to get that ball over the end zone. Jake Browning, solid backup for Joe Burrow. I think they're going to be good hands if he ever gets injured again. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Vikings, they had the path to make the playoffs, but I don't know anymore with Nick Mullins playing quarterback. And Steelers, I feel bad for Mike Tomlin. I hope nothing happens to him job-wise. It shouldn't. This may be the first time he ever gets a losing record. He just needs to improve the quarterback situation and needs to get an offensive coordinator in there that can help that offense. The defense is fine.
How about Trey Sermon rushing for 88 yards?
Yeah, how about that? Dude, Shane Steichen, man, he knows he could coach in this league. He's incredible. To have that Colt team where they are right now, probably going to make the playoffs, especially with CJ Stroud getting concussed. They have a good chance of making the playoffs in the AFC. Very impressed by him. He should, along with Kevin Stefanski, they're my 1-2 for Coach of the Year. Kevin Stefanski and Shane Steichen. All right, the Lions and Broncos. Great performance by the Lions. They needed that game to get back to where they were. Ben Johnson finding a groove again between running the ball and passing. Sam Laporta makes you wonder about Michael Mayer. I think he'll be a good tight end, but he may not be as good as this guy. This guy's along the lines of Gronk and Travis Kelce as far as a receiving threat.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns. Jared Goff with 5 touchdowns. They kicked the Broncos' ass. Sean Payton should have been mad at himself because he had 2 opportunities to throw the challenge flag for clear touchdowns and neglected to do so, and then went for the field goal. I think he was mad at Russell Wilson because he snapped the ball too quickly when they could have got a review on a scoring play. Now, everyone that's coming out and saying Sean Payton yelling at Russell Wilson like he would never yell at Drew Brees like that. Yes, he did. If you ever watch NFL films, there's times where Sean Payton yells at Drew Brees. So don't give me that. But also, maybe Russell Wilson did fuck up. We don't know the whole situation. And if you look at it in the postgame, at least Sean Payton was nice enough to not give the reason why he yelled at Russell Wilson. They asked him, and he was like, I'm not divulging that information to you guys. You guys don't have to know everything. So he's not going to kill his quarterback in the postgame like that. Russell Wilson's having a great season, but I don't know what happened. Yeah, he chewed him out on the sideline, but I don't know the situation, so I really can't say. But that's not the first time a coach has ever yelled at a Hall of Fame quarterback, though.
No, I mean, you saw that with, or not saw it actually, but you heard it behind closed doors with Belichick and Brady, right?
Yeah.
Is that he wasn't afraid to call him out. I don't know. I didn't think much of it. I do have an issue when it's like, I don't know, Nick Saban yelling at like an 18-year-old. But if it's, if it's two adults, clearly something really got to Peyton. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, Russell, he's a control freak, and Russell Wilson's a grown-ass man. He can handle it. It's not the first time you don't think Pete's chewed him out while chewing a piece of gum? And Sean Payton likes his gum, too?
Yeah, I was going to say literally chew him
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
chews out his gum every day.
I love watching that post game last night with how much Colin Cowherd hates backwards hats. My man Pete Carroll rocking the backwards hat in his post game.
Yeah.
Young soul.
Mm-hmm. How do you do, fellow kids?
Other games around the league. This NFC South, man. Like I said in the Italian accent last week, NFC South's a fucking joke. It is. Between what's going on with the Falcons, Saints are improving. I still like the Saints to win that division. But then you got the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield had himself a hell of a day against the Packers. Perfect passer rating. I'm still not buying them to win the division. Kind of think the Packers still find a way to sneak in, but I don't know right now. Between the Seahawks and Rams, they have a better chance. But yeah, I don't think Arthur Smith is going to get fired because I think they're going to give him an opportunity to improve the quarterback position. But losing to the Panthers like that, 9-7, and now they're going back to Taylor Heineke. Ugh, if they don't win the division, then they definitely need to find a better quarterback and probably a veteran.
It's not a good look.
Not a good look at all.
Not a good look. Not a good look putting all your faith in that quarterback, saying people are stupid for saying that he's not any good, and then you bench him twice. It's been a bad season for Arthur Smith.
I'd say so. But I still think that I think he'll get one more season. I don't think he'll get fired. I think that he has to prove that he can have, him and Robert Saleh, I think, will be in the same boat next year, where this is pretty much they're on the hot seat. If the Jets don't make the playoffs with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, then Robert Saleh will be gone. And if Arthur Smith doesn't find a veteran quarterback to go with what they got in Atlanta that can propel them to the NFC South title, then he'll be gone as well. As far as other games, speaking of the Jets, they've been officially eliminated from postseason contention, and I thought this was stupid from the jump, but Aaron Rodgers basically came out today and said, I'm not coming back. That just doesn't make sense. And that's the smart move. But it sounds like everybody else will be coming back. They're just going to run it back with that team, which is probably the right move, but are they a little too confident that Aaron Rodgers is going to save them next year? And we have all offseason to talk about that. But the Dolphins, 30-0 against the Jets. They didn't have Tyreek Hill. Tua looked good. Jalen Waddle stepped up. Probably the most impressive I've seen as far as the Dolphins offensively and defensively. So the true test will be next week when they play the Cowboys. That will be a test for both of them because the Dolphins haven't beat anybody with a significant winning record, and the Cowboys haven't beat anybody with a significant record on the road. So that will be pretty much the highlight of this upcoming week in football.
Two teams that aren't good against good teams. Should be
fun. Basically. Rams look impressive. I think they're going to make the playoffs, and that's really impressive from where we thought they were going to be from, for lack of a better term, from where we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season with all the moves they had to make, cutting bait with big-name players like Jalen Ramsey or Bobby Wagner. But Matthew Stafford looks good, man. I know a year ago everybody thought he was going to retire with the back injury or the neck injury, whatever it was. He had the whole shoulder thing where he couldn't throw the football effectively. He could be in the conversation for comeback player of the year. He's looking really good with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and their running back Kyren Williams. So I like what I'm seeing from the Rams. They could sneak in, and you make it the situation now with the 49ers in a good spot with the 1 seed that if they beat the Ravens and they beat the Commanders, that they could possibly rest everybody week 18 and give the Rams the opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah, if the Rams do make the playoffs, so I'm not going to be looking at them as much as much of a threat. They beat they're one of those teams that's like right in the middle of everybody. They're in that weird. It's not a there's no tier of these guys now, but I'm gonna go back to like football in the late 2010s and the early 2020s. But the tier of Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, and Jimmy Garoppolo, they're not great, but they're not bad. They're right smack dab in the middle.
No, but they're building something again, I think. Like this offseason, they may go back to their crazy ways of getting high-named free agents, and then they're back to where they used to be 2 seasons ago. So no, I'm not thinking of them as like no. In the NFC, it's the Niners, it's the Eagles, and it's the Cowboys. Lions, great story, but they may upset the Eagles. I could see that happening in the divisional round if that happens, but I'm not buying them for the Super Bowl. It's 3 teams in the NFC, and the Rams are a good story. Now I will say this: be on the lookout for a potentially first-round matchup between the Lions and Rams, which would be juicy as hell considering what happened between Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, trading for one another. What else do we have here? Last, just the Ravens kicking the crap out of the Jaguars. I thought that the Jaguars would put up more of a fight. I'm not really buying them as far as a potential threat in the AFC. I thought that they could be a 2 seed, but they're just going to win that division by default, I think, right now. They had 2 missed field goals, a weird fumble from Trevor Lawrence, and then just an all-time fuck-up where they had no timeouts. They got that ball to like the 7-yard line, and Trevor Lawrence tried to sneak another play in, and then they ran out of time before the half. So I'm not impressed with the Jaguars right now. They're reeling, but they'll still probably make the playoffs. Although Trevor Lawrence is in concussion protocols, we'll see what happens there. Ravens, defensively, they are impressive. I think the Niners have a better defense overall, but the Ravens can hit you in the mouth. There's like no particular person that really stands out on the defense. There's certain pieces like, more in their secondary, I would say, like with Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey. They got older pass rushers and Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney, but they just have an overall good defensive unit. Offensively, they're hit or miss. I think that Lamar still looks to run a little bit more than throw, but he's, throwing the ball a little bit more. I'm not thoroughly impressed with the Ravens. I think defensively they're more impressive, but I think they'll get the number 1 seed in the AFC, but I could see them easily losing in the first round to like the Buffalo Bills.
That'd be a good matchup, though. They're just on fire, like they are in every regular season. It's why I don't really trust the Ravens too much, because they do this every regular season where it's like Lamar Jackson looks like an MVP, but then when you get to the playoffs and it gets grimy, they don't seem to win. So
yeah,
I'd have to see it in the playoffs. But I do think that Monday's matchup, considering how well they have been playing, we didn't even mention Patrick Queen or Roquan Smith on that defense.
They have the best. I mean, between Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, those 2 guys, Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, they're both pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're right there with those guys. So I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup. But again, I don't know. It's all in the playoffs, man. I don't really know what to make of the Ravens. I don't know what to make of anything. I'm always wrong.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Everybody's mad at me because I didn't do my Italian accent during quick hits like I did last week. So let me do it for this. Tommy DeVito. Hey. So this guy's the talk of New York, right? He wins last week. He gets he's a big man. He gets the win against the Packers. Good for you. Good for you. But then his agent, Sean Stellato, whatever the fuck his name is, this guy, he tells Tommy DeVito to go to a local pizza joint, do a little autograph signing, something for the people, kiss little babies, make some nice mozzarella for the kids. But then, so at the last second, this guy, his agent, charges the pizza place $200,000 for the appearance.
20.
20 grand? Okay. Yeah, 200 grand sounds ridiculous. Okay, 20 grand. And he's like, oh, hey, forget about it. We're not doing that. The pizza place, that is. And then it came across like Tommy DeVito is some kind of asshole where he's not going to, his agent's pulling crap like this at the last second. And, He's too big for himself now, so uh, he got a lot of bad publicity the last couple of days, and then he made good today. Tommy DeVito's a good old Italian kid. He showed up to the pizza place pro bono, free of charge, made some pizzas for the people.
Tommy DeVito's for the kids. That's what he is right there.
He's all class.
He's a good family man, all class. He takes care, brush your hair.
Now, I did fall for this. This fucking account on Twitter gets me every time because it sounds like a legitimate person. What's his name? Wesley. No, Wesley Steinberg. This guy doesn't exist. This was also the guy. Apparently, he's supposed to be like this New York journalist. He was the guy that they attributed the whole Adoree Jackson was going to be close to being traded to the Niners. This guy doesn't exist. He's not real. So he tweets out that apparently, and I fell for this. He tweets out that there's a whole thing where Tommy DeVito told the Giants social media team, stop doing the whole fucking Italian stereotype thing with me, okay? I just want to play football. Because there's this whole made-up thing that they wanted to make a video of Tommy DeVito doing the top 5 Sopranos moments. And he was like, no thanks, I just want to focus on being the quarterback. Which is total bullshit. It actually did not happen.
I'm looking up the tweet right now. Hang on, I'm going to pull this up.
It's stupid.
Yeah. Looks legit.
I have it right here. Giants QB Tommy DeVito recently told the team's social media manager to quit with the Italian shit. I just want to play football before storming out. DeVito was approached to record a top 5 Sopranos moment video, which was the final straw before his outburst.
Where do people get off doing this sort of stuff? You know?
What do you mean? What the fake shit? It's funny to me.
Yeah, it's funny, but like, do they even get to, bear the fruits of their labor, so to speak? Like, they're in it for trolling. Totally trolling,
because that's like, but it's also kind of a satire of society because we fall for this shit.
Well, you do.
You do too.
I haven't fallen for none of this. All right, I haven't fallen for none.
All right.
Look at his. I like how he's ASMR sports representative.
See, if you read between the lines, there's hints there that this guy's full of shit. Okay. Lastly, Steven, you texted this to me on Saturday night. Big MMA fight between some guy and the Wonder Boy. Who is the Wonder Boy?
Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's a veteran in UFC, one of the great kickboxers of all time. All around nice guy. Like, he's known as the nicest guy in UFC. Like, nothing phases him. In the press, it's him and his dad's like an MMA instructor. And has been training him since he was like 3 years old. And now he's kind of in the family business, and they both run their own little training center. And like, literally in the press conference, one of the guys, this fake ass dude who was part of the main event, Colby Covington, hopefully it's the end of him. He's the worst out of every athlete to ever exist in mankind. And that's taking OJ Simpson into account. But I'm just kidding. But like, he's calling out,
hello to the world.
He's calling out Wonder Boy for, like, he's basically calling him like a pedophile, taking kids, him and his dad taking kids in their van. And yeah, the press conferences get kind of wild.
Jesus Christ.
But and Wonder Boy was just unfazed by it. But anyway, his walkout song is Wonder Boy by
Tenacious D, baby.
Tenacious D, yeah. Wonder Boy.
What is the secret of your power?
So it's been a long time coming, but both Jack Black and Kyle Gass were walking out right behind him, Cage and Jables. And it was just so funny because Jack Black just had a straight face the entire time as he's walking out. Kind of looks like a character from Cats, to be honest with you, with his hair and his beard. Like one of the big ones.
CGI, the terrible movie that came out.
Correct. I don't know what the big one is, but there's like one big cat who's like the father to all of them. That's what, that's where Jack Black kind of looks. That's what he looks like now. Yeah.
He definitely has let the hair grow out and the beard grow out. It was just funny to see them like this serious MMA event, and then it's just Jack Black and Kyle Gass on the sideline.
Yeah. Yeah. and for
or
a fact,
ringside, I should say.
and they're wearing like the UFC gear. They've got
Yeah.
all the Venom stuff going on. Like, actually, I'm gonna try and pull this up so people actually, the listeners here, our homies, actually have the look. It was a good event though, but not as great as it could have been.
Who ended up winning?
Well, between Wonder Boy lost.
Oh god.
Yeah, Wonder Boy lost, which was unfortunate. But Leon Edwards, more importantly, beat Colby Covington in the main event. So that's what mattered. But yeah, just those two right there. Like, what are they doing?
So serious.
Yeah.
If only Wonder Boy used his ability for mind bullets, he would have won the fight.
Agreed. But
With
no, he
mind bullets.
look, he's taking on a guy who's a future champ in Shavkat Ravanov. Shavkat's too. He's from Kazakhstan. He's just a killer. There's certain MMA guys out there in UFC who are just like, you kind of look at them as warriors, and there's like a different purpose to what they're fighting for. It's not just fighting for money or anything like that. Like, they're doing it for their country, And yeah, Shavkat Ravanov is an absolute dog. So he'll probably be champ one day.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Nice.
Also, I almost thought I was like, I had it in my mind, same exact feeling I had watching Damar Hamlin during the Bengals Bills. Literally thought I saw a guy potentially die in the octagon.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It was this guy, Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty is his nickname. And he took a fight on 2 weeks' notice, and he was taking on this guy named Josh Emmett, who is one of the hardest hitters ever in his division history. And hits him with an overhand right, clean, gets him clean on the face. And as he's laying on the ground, he's having convulsions. He's going into a seizure.
Oh boy.
And literally the camera picked it up. They showed him having convulsions, and then he just stopped. And I was like, is he dead? I'm like pulling my hair. I'm like, no, I can't. No. And then he ended up being all right. He started
good.
I saw like the guy who knocked him out, he was on his knee for a bit, and then he got up, and then he started kind of celebrating. So I knew that he was okay, but I was just like, whew, for 10 seconds, when one of those things happens, man, when you use sports to just get away from everything, it's something like that. Oh, brutal.
Yeah, terrible.
Just brutal.
I need to start getting into this MMA stuff.
And you don't have to. I enjoy it. It's sometimes it can be pretty boring though. It gets very technical, but it's fun.
Where'd you watch it? Just on pay-per-view or ESPN Plus?
Yeah, I paid for it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is, each NFL Sunday Ticket, you pay a one-time fee. Each fight's its own, $60 thing.
Oh, it's $80 now.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
Maybe not for me. Anything else you want to bring up, Steven?
Yeah. You know what? Christmas songs. We tend to do these things just in society where we overplay something into oblivion. And actually, I should have invited you for the fight. Ernie's right. Steven didn't invite Derek. Sorry, Derek. Should have invited you.
I was too busy watching the Lions and Broncos.
Should have known. Yeah. Why are we acting like All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey is not a banger? It is a certified banger. Absolute. It deserves all of whatever we call it in the world. Like, I'm tired of social media overplaying it and acting like it's not a good song, because I'm seeing too much of it this year right before Christmas when the piano comes in, and then everyone's like, oh, when I hear that piano, and then you just like run away. Like, no, it is an amazing song.
It is.
It's fantastic.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I just think people don't like Mariah Carey, but they overplay the hell out of it in department stores.
And stay out of
and the radio.
Stores. Stay out of, just avoid, because I've listened to it twice this year. And it's
I avoid all Christmas songs because I don't do Christmas shopping and I don't listen to Christmas radio. So for people that have to deal with that shit, it's probably annoying, but I don't really care. I think all Christmas songs are annoying, to be completely honest.
Really?
Yeah, for the good majority of them. Oh, the best one of all time is Bruce Springsteen's "Santa Claus is Coming to Town."
It's a good one.
It's a good one because I just like the voice he has, like his deep, gravelly voice, and he's like, "Y'all been good this Christmas,
Yeah.
huh? Hey Clarence, you can get a new saxophone for Christmas." Yeah, how many of y'all been good out there? Oh, it's not many. It's not many. You guys in trouble. You better watch out. As
uh,
every Christmas, since I was a kid, my dad would blast that the morning of when we were opening presents. We're like, Dad, turn it down. He's like, No, this is good. Shut up.
yeah. I agree with your dad. I'm with Greg.
Yeah, it's of all of the Christmas songs, that's the most tolerable.
You think so?
Last Christmas isn't bad either. And you know what's sad about that?
What?
George Michael died on Christmas.
Yeah.
Kind of
No,
fitting
I,
though.
I like Last Christmas, but Fairy Tale of New York is the greatest Christmas song of all time.
Fairy Tale of New York. What is that?
Even though it, says the F word, which we've kind of taken
What?
out. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a love story about a man and a woman and how they hate each other, but they love each other and they can't live without each other. But there are times when they fight, and in the fight, in the process, she calls him the F word, which is just it was the old days.
Wait, sorry. Are we talking about fuck or the other one?
The other one,
Okay, gotcha.
yes, and it's a great song. It was
Is-
Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank.
Oh,
The
okay.
old man said to me,
This is the old Irish.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I got
Yep. They got cars big as bars. They got rivers of gold. With windows right through you, no place for the old. Yeah, it's a good song.
I don't think I've actually ever realized what that song is about. I just heard it during Christmas time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Occasionally.
Oh, beautiful songwriting. Just beautiful. Except for the
Okay.
F word part. The F word
Yeah.
part's a little bit. It's a little much. It's like Jesus, that really escalated to a different level.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
That'll-
woman who
that'll-
sang it,
That'll come up in our past sometimes.
true hero, jumped in front of a car for her kid, died,
Oh shit, really?
sacrificed herself. Yep. Mm-hmm.
In the song or in real life?
In real life.
Oh wow. Fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. What's her name? Kirsty McCall, I think her name is. Yeah. Sad stuff.
Yeah.
On that
Damn.
note,
Yeah, way to be a downer. Jesus. Well, Merry Festivus, everyone. That's coming up on Saturday.
so that's
believe
on
so.
Saturday. That's the 20. So that's on Christmas Eve.
No, that's Christmas Eve is Sunday.
Oh, yeah. So it's
I,
the 23rd.
I believe Festivus is the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah, see, Festivus is a day for me to celebrate. It's my half birthday, bro. All right.
Your half birthday?
Yeah. It's December 23rd.
It's halfway to your birthday?
Yeah.
I thought it was like it's your half birthday. Like it was the day you were supposed to be born, and you came out a little bit, but then you stayed in your place for a couple more months, and then you came out.
No, I was, I like to celebrate it as it's the time I was, about 3 months into being a thought in my parents' minds.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, Festivus is where you celebrate by telling people how they disappointed you through the year. So I hope everybody celebrates that this year.
Yeah. I mean, we try to live too much by Seinfeld's rules, It's
Yeah,
like we don't
for a
have
guy
to.
that doesn't even watch it, you talk so much shit about it.
I've seen a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
Also, It's a Wonderful Life could have been cured by a GoFundMe.
In what way? Oh, yeah, you're right.
All I needed was a GoFundMe to keep Bailey and Brothers alive. No, go follow my GoFundMe.
By the way, speaking of Seinfeld, Curb ending.
I mean, we can both admit that it's about time, right?
It's about time.
I mean,
That show's been on for pretty too long.
There's a lot of people I saw who were sad about it happening, but it's like, have you enjoyed the season since its return? This has not been very good.
There's still genius moments, but it's time.
Very much time.
I'm going to be sad and I'm going to enjoy the last season, but it's time. It's okay. It's time.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And on that note, it's time for us to end this thing. We are not going to be doing a show this weekend. Everybody enjoy your holidays, whatever you choose to celebrate. Going to be a huge game between the Niners and Ravens, and hopefully things stay close between the Raiders and Chiefs. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody in the chat. AJ Cruz, Biernes, Skills. Thank you guys for putting up with us this whole year. We'll be back next week. Steven, have a Merry Christmas to you and Jesse and your family. And say what you always say, my friend.
Merry Christmas.